Hamburger,
Ladies and gentlemen, we are sorry to interrupt this regularly scheduled programming with a special edition news broadcast.
Good evening. I'm Emma Little.
And I'm Grace Jenkins. Welcome to the evening news at 7. First, we will be bringing you the uncovered story of the East Timor genocide. This segment is in commemoration of the 25th anniversary of the massacre in Dili. This story has long been covered with biased one-sided media. We are the first to bring you the full story. Now to our researcher, Nia, and our investigative reporter, Ritvik, to provide you more information.
I'm here with Nia Sali, a researcher specializing in Southeast Asian studies.
It's great to be here.
So, can you tell us a bit about East Timor's background?
East Timor has had a long history of violence and oppression, and the U.S. played a part in letting it happen and covering it up. Journalists were not welcome, so there is little coverage of the actual event. The Portuguese invaded East Timor in the 1600s and had set up a colony. Their rule was harsh and strict, but they finally withdrew in 1975 when the Indonesian group Frentil, a freedom group, staged a coup.
What role did America play in all of this?
Soon afterwards, Indonesian troops invaded. That happened one day after President Ford visited, leading many to speculate that the U.S. helped Indonesia and gave a green light to the invasion. Later, classified documents emerged highlighting that the Indonesian President Suharto knew he had approval from the White House and had a meeting with Kissinger, the Secretary of State, and the President himself. The U.S. even knew about the illegal American weapons that Indonesia had acquired. There were many guerrilla fighting forces in East Timor at the time. Fretland is a leftist political party that began as a resistance movement. Its armed military wing, Falentil, engaged in a guerrilla war against the Indonesian forces. Zanana Gusmao was their leader, who eventually was imprisoned by the Indonesian government. Although it was frustrating for the Fretland, Gusmao continued to give hope to the resistance. Jose Ramos Horta was the UN representative for Fretland during the occupation. He was later awarded a Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts. Journalists were not welcome in East Timor. The Balibo Five were 5 Australian, New Zealander, and British journalists who were killed by the Indonesian military. This proved how unethical Indonesia was. The Dili massacre was what catapulted East Timor onto the radar of activists all around the world. On November 12, 1991, during a funeral procession for the youth Fretland fighters, over 2,000 protesters unfurled the Fretland flag and started chanting loud but peacefully. After a brief confrontation, Indonesian troops opened fire on the crowd, killing at least 250 protesters. Journalists Amy Goodman, Alan Nairn, and Max Stahl had been secretly reporting on the conflict. Max Stahl had been secretly filming, completely covering the Dili massacre. Amy Goodman and Alex Nairn tried shielding the protesters and protecting them. The group gave the footage to Saskia Kuenberg, a Dutch journalist who smuggled it past Australian security who had been tipped off by Indonesia.
Don't repeat again, okay? Don't repeat again!
Hiding the truth of what happened in East Timor not only hurts the people there, but it also affects people around the world. The uncovering of the truth allows people to see past the one-sided media that we are so often presented with. While we cannot amend the tragedies that occurred only a quarter of a century ago, we can still try to help.
With the help of charities from around the world, we can help East Timor get back on their feet. Continued efforts from other countries and charities to move East Timor in the right direction will help them move past their devastating past. Although it has been almost 25 years since the massacre in Dili, there have been many other devastating events in East Timor. Even today, the people of East Timor are experiencing serious troubles, and the hardships are far from over. Now, to our field reporter, Abby, in East Timor, to tell us what life is currently like there.
My name is Abby Levy and I'm reporting to you live from the still impoverished East Timor. It is a beautiful day here in East Timor on today, the 12th of November. Today is the 25th anniversary of the massacre in Dili, a major part of the East Timor genocide, and things are still not great here. The living quality is still low and the nation is not fully healed. A major problem here in East Timor is the treatment of women. A 2005 study found that 47% of women suffered from physical, psychological, or sexual violence by their partner. Similar studies have found that 38% of women aged 15 to 49 experienced physical violence beginning at the age of 15. And things haven't gotten much better since then. The poor stance on women also makes them vulnerable to human trafficking, with Timor less in the center of sex trafficking for women in Asia. The government of East Timor has attempted to protect women and children's rights. However, the lack of legislative framework and implementation plans makes putting plans into action extremely difficult.
This concludes our story of uncovering the truth of what happened in East Timor 25 years ago.
From all of us here, thank you, and have a good night.